Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to demystify one of the world's absolute oldest and most loved drinks, beer. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll be able to walk up to any bar, look at that tap list, and know exactly what you're doing.
We've all been there, right? Staring at this long list of names, stout, porter, IPA, pilsner, and you're just overwhelmed. But what if I told you that figuring out the thousands of beers out there is actually way simpler than you think? Well, you're about to get the key.
So, to really get a handle on beer, we have to go back. Way back. We're talking right to the very beginning of its amazing story.
Get this, beer has been around for at least 6,000 years. It's wild to think about, but as ancient people started farming grains, they probably stumbled onto fermentation completely by accident, long before they even perfected baking bread.
Yeah, so you can just picture it, our ancestors accidentally leaving some grain mush out in the sun, coming back and finding this fizzy, pretty amazing beverage. So beer isn't just a drink, it's a real piece of ancient human history.
Okay, now for the big secret, the key to understanding everything. Forget the hundreds of styles you see on a menu for a second. Every single beer on planet Earth belongs to one of just two main families. This is probably the most important thing you'll learn today.
And that's it. Ales and lagers. Seriously, from the darkest, richest stout to the lightest, crispest pilsner, every single one is either an ale or a lager. This simple fact is basically your new superpower for understanding beer. So what makes an ale and a lager a lager? Well, it all comes down to the tiny powerhouse behind the magic, yeast. You see, ales use a top fermenting yeast that loves warmer temperatures. This creates all sorts of complex, fruity, and spicy flavors. Lagers, on the other hand, use a bottom fermenting yeast at cooler temps, which works a bit slower and results in a much cleaner, crisper taste. This one little difference creates two totally different universes of flavor.
All right, so let's explore that first family. Remember, ales are fermented warmer. So as we go through these, listen for those richer, fruitier, and more complex flavor descriptions.
First up, we've got the porter. This is a classic dark ale. Think roasted malt character, bringing out these delicious notes of chocolate, coffee, and even caramel. It's got body, but it's still smooth, with a bitterness that's definitely there, but doesn't hit you over the head. Next, the stout. You can almost think of a stout as a porter's bigger, bolder cousin. It's famously dark, like almost black, with a really full body and a rich, roasted malt flavor. And of course, the most famous example in the entire world is Guinness. Okay, let's swing over to the lighter side of things with the pale ale. Just like the name says, it's much lighter in color, from golden to a nice amber. This style is all about a noticeable hot presence, giving it those great citrus or piney aromas and a pleasant bitterness that's balanced out by a solid malt flavor. The brown ale is beautiful because it sits right in the middle. It has that gorgeous brown color, it's just a little bit hoppy, and it's really known for its delicious sweet and nutty character. You'll often hear people say it reminds them of caramel or toffee. And finally, the golden ale. This one is bright, crisp, and really approachable. Think citrusy and maybe a little spicy, with a bitterness that's pretty mellow. So as we've seen, all these styles, from dark porters to bright golden ales, are all part of that ale family, defined by that warmer fermentation that gives them so much character. Okay, so we've seen the what, but now let's talk about the why. How do all these different ales get their own unique personalities? To answer that, we need to talk about the real star of the show, the yeast. This quote just nails it. We spend so much time talking about malts and hops, but it's the yeast that does all the heavy lifting. It creates the alcohol, the carbonation, and, most importantly, a huge chunk of the flavor. So what are these little heroes exactly? Well, they're tiny, single-celled fungi. Brewers add them to this sugary liquid they call wort. The yeast then goes to town, eating all that sugar, and as a byproduct, it creates the alcohol and the CO2 that makes beer, well, beer. Now, this chart is where things get really cool, because it shows you exactly how different yeasts create those flavors. See that clean American strain? That's what lets the hops in a pale ale really shine. Those fruity apple or pear notes from British strains, that's the signature of a classic brown ale or porter. And those really powerful, spicy, peppery notes from Belgian yeast, that's what makes a Belgian triple so unique. Yeast isn't just an ingredient, it's the director of the final flavor.
All right, you've got the theory down. Let's get practical. How you actually get that beer from the bottle or the tap into your glass makes a huge difference in how it tastes and smells.
Getting that perfect pour is easy, I promise. First, and this is non-negotiable, start with a perfectly clean glass. Tilt it at a 45-degree angle and pour gently right down the side. Once you're about 2/3 full, straighten the glass up and pour right into the middle. This is what creates that perfect creamy head, which is so important because it releases all the beer's aromas. You're aiming for about an inch of foam at the top. And it's not just about the pour itself. The actual shape of your glass is a crucial tool. They're designed specifically to enhance the aromas and the characteristics of different beer styles.
You'll definitely recognize these two classics. The big, sturdy mug is built to hold a lot of beer and be durable, perfect for a beer garden. And the pint glass? That's the versatile, all-purpose workhorse you're gonna find in pretty much any pub on Earth.
But from here, things can get a little more specialized. A tulip glass, with that curved lip, is designed to trap and concentrate the complex aromas of stronger ales. And that tall, slender Pilsner glass? That's built to show off a beer's brilliant, sparkling clarity and all those beautiful rising bubbles. So, there you have it. You're armed with the fundamentals. You know about the two great families of beer, you can spot the difference between a porter and a pale ale, and you even know how to pour it perfectly. The only question left is, with all this newfound knowledge, what new beer are you going to explore next? Cheers!